Hey there, it's Mr. Leatherwood, and today we're going to try some percent problems together. Let's see how we do. All right, a local zoo had 750 visitors on Saturday. If 20% of the guests traveled from out of town, how many local guests visited the zoo on Saturday? All right, so I'm going to look for some tricky stuff. So if you notice, I see 20% of the guests traveled out of town, but then at the very end it says how many local guests were on Saturday. So that's going to be a little tricky. Then what I think I would look for is, what are we looking for? Are we looking for the whole? Are we looking for the part? Or are we looking for the percent? Well, I see a percent right here, so we're probably not looking for percent. And then it says a local zoo had 750 visitors on Saturday. That sounds like a total to me. So I think what we're looking for is our part. So a lot of times I'll come over and I'll just remind myself that I'm looking for the part. And that'll be kind of the first thing I do when I set these problems up. All right. So then I know that 20% was out of town, but we're looking for guests that are in town. So if 20% were out, I think that 80%, which is 80 over 100, because 8% means out of 100, 80% is what we're looking for, and then our total was 750, and we're looking for our part. Then I just need to think of, okay, how did I get from 100 to 750? I would probably, you don't have to do it this way, but I would do times 7.5, and then on the top I would also do times 7.5. And then I like to break that up. You could do like the traditional method, but I would probably do 80 times 7 and 80 times a half, because I know half of 80 is 40, and then 8 times 7 is 56. So that means 80 times 7 would be 560. So then I could add those two together, and that would give me the answer of 600 local guests. Boom. Hopefully that made sense. Let's try another one. So on an average Sunday, 460 tickets are sold. So I think that's our whole. How many children tickets? So we're looking for children, so that's important. So that's our percentage, I think. We think that's our total, and then I would probably, like, just so I don't mess up, maybe get rid of these other percentages. And then again, I think we're looking for part. That's probably the first thing I would do. And then setting it up, we know 15%, so 15 out of 100. And then I may take an extra step on this one. And then my total, remember our total we thought was this number up here, 460. So my total is 460. For me, going from 100 to 460, I could do times 4.6. That would be fine. But I think I'm going to try to simplify this fraction first. So I'm going to look at these two numbers and think of a number I could divide by. So since it ends in a 0 and a 5, I think I'm just going to divide by 5 on both the bottom and top. And most of us know 15 divided by 5 is 3. And 100 divided by 5 is 20. And the only reason I do that is I'm trying to see, maybe I can get from 20 to 460 a little bit easier than I would if I was going from 100 to 460. So for me, I know that 2 times 23 is 46. So that means 20 times 23 is 460. So then I would do the same thing on the top. And again, I like to break this up and do 20 times 3 equals 60. And 3, oops, made a mistake. And then 3 times 3 equals 9. So then that would give us our answer, x equals 69 tickets. All right. Hopefully that made sense. Let's try another one. All right. The zoo has 40 dispensers to buy food to feed the animals. 30%, so I'm going to mark that. 30%, because it's in words, that's a little tricky, of the dispensers are for land animals. How many food dispensers are for land animals? So I do like to see that they gave us land animals and they're looking for land animals. So that's good. The zoo has 40 dispensers. So I think this little guy is our total. So again, I think we're going to look for part on this one. Okay. So now let's set it up. So 30%, that's 30 out of 100. And then the zoo has 40 dispensers. So again, I'm going to set it up a little different, and you'll see why just in a second, because our total is 40. So for me, it would be difficult to go from 100 to 40. I would have to divide by kind of a weird number. So what I'm going to try to think of is what is a number I could change these to, or specifically this one, to try to get to 40 easy. So what I do on this one in particular, I would try 10. Because if I divide the top and the bottom by 10, I would get 10 here, and I would get 3 on top. And so now, I don't know about you, but it's much easier to go from 10 to 40 than it would have been going from 100 to 40. So now I can just go, oh, 10 times 4 is 40, and 3 times 4 is 12. So my answer would be 12 dispensers. So not too bad, but I like to break it up or change it in the middle here to make this transition a little bit easier. So maybe that's helpful for you. I'm not sure. All right, that was 3. I think I've got two more that we're going to try. All right, number 4. Of the 250 visitors on Friday, 54% of them stayed until the zoo closed. About how many visitors stayed until the zoo closed? Okay, so again, I like that they're giving us how many stayed, and then they're asking for that. So that's good. I think here's our percentage, and then I would say this is probably our total. So again, I think we're looking for part. Could be wrong, but I think so. All right, I'm going to set it up again. So I'm going to do the percent first. And just to be clear, you really don't have to do the percent first. I just normally look, whatever one I'm looking for, I usually put that on the right side. All right, so we're going from 54 to from 100 to 250. I don't know, what would I do here? I'd probably just do times 2.5. Certainly don't have to. You could do it a different way. You know, we could simplify it maybe. So I'm going to do times 2.5. So 54 times 2. I'm just doubling it, so that's not too hard. So what's that? 108. And then 54 times a half. That's a little harder maybe. So half of 50 is 25, and then half of 4 is 2. So I think it's 27. And then I'm just going to add those together. 8 plus 7 is 15. And then 3, so I get 135. About how many visitors? So I would say 135 visitors. Let's label it. Visitors. Bloop. So I think that's how I would do it. If you struggle with the 2.5 part, this part right here, we could always simplify this if we wanted. Maybe divide it by 2 and get 27 over 50. And then we could multiply that to get to 250. So if you struggle with this, if you want to do it a different way, come see me in class. Just pause the video, and then I can show you a different way on this one as well. All right, let's try one more. A guest survey showed that 325 people ordered food while at the zoo. 92%, I don't like how they wrote that in words, so I'm going to highlight that if this was mine, were satisfied with their food order. How many people were dissatisfied? All right, so be careful here. They asked for satisfied here, but down here they're asking for dissatisfied. So that's something you want to watch out for. I'm pretty sure that this is still our total. So again, I think I'm looking for part. I think. They did give us the whole. That's our 325. And then 92% were satisfied. So if I minus that from 100, that means 8% was not satisfied. So what I would do for my percentage, 8% means 8 out of 100. And then we have a total of 325. So I need to figure out if I think I should go smaller. So if I divide by, ooh, that's a good idea. I think I would go, so we're trying to get to 325. I see this 25 at the end, and that makes me think of 100, like I could divide by 4 to get 25. So I think that's what I would do. I think I would divide the bottom and top by 4. So 8 divided by 4 is 2, and 100 divided by 4 is 25. Because then I could think of, okay, how many 25s go into 325? So this is kind of weird how I'm going to do it, but there are 4 of them that go into 100. So if I was going into 100, that would be 4 of them. Another 100, that would be 4 of them. Another 100, that would be 4 of them. So that's 300, and then we have one more right here, this other 25. So I would just do one more. So 4 plus 4 plus 4 is 12, plus one more would be 13. So I did times 13. Double check that. So 25 times 13 I think is 325. And then I would do the same thing on top. 2 times 13. So I would just do 2 times 10 and 2 times 3. So that would be 20 plus 6. So I think my answer is going to be 26 dissatisfied people. All right, well, hopefully this was helpful to kind of see how I break down these problems. If it wasn't, you struggled a little bit, come see me in class and we'll do a couple more, or maybe we can go back over these. All right, great.